quitting ministry is never an option. Quitting the church is. There was a time that I decided that I didn't want to work in the church. And it was that time that we had a really big blowout. But after that fiasco was over, I cried. I cried because I was so hurt by that church, by doing that. And I didn't doubt that they didn't love me, but they were pathological. And where I wanted to serve there, I couldn't serve there. And so that ended the place that I really wanted to be in the church. I was still chaplain with the police department. I still love God. I still love my Jesus that the Pentecostal people gave me.
A layperson came to me and pulled me aside gently. He must have seen passion waning. He must have seen the tiredness I was feeling. I don't know what he saw, but in those feelings in that church where I felt like I had nothing left to give, and I felt like I was ready to leave and find something else, somewhere else. Not to quit ministry, but to find another place to minister. Mm-hmm. When I reached that point, he pulled me aside and suggested that I use Psalm 91. And it's been a psalm I've gone back to many times in my ministry, many times when that tiredness is so accessible I can taste it, many times when that exhaustion is feeling like it's killing my spirit or killing me. The temptation to quit is real. The temptation to stop is part of this ministry that we share. I felt it. I know it. Psalm 91 has been that resource.
There's only one time in my life that I really felt like quitting, but I didn't feel as though it was an option. I had been at the church I was serving for just a few years and was presented with an 18-page document that was really designed to force my resignation. And there were 3 people that were responsible for that document, all in very significant leadership positions in the church. But had it not been for a collection of people who mentored me in various ways, I don't know that I would have had the stamina or strength to stay with it and confront it the way I did. And I think one of the things I learned about mentors, at least for me, was that I've had a collection of people, each with different gifts and graces that have been there when I've needed them. Had it not been for the circle of care around me, I think I might have made different choices.
One of the great challenges we have in the United Church of Christ today is that we don't have enough women ministers who are senior pastors who can be mentors to this new set of women that are beginning to ask specifically, may I have a woman mentor who is a senior pastor? That's certainly one of the challenges.
Maybe your church does one thing, yours does another, and mine does another, but we have to have something in common, even after we talk. What is that thing that we can do, that we can raise our collective prophetic voices together and not have to fight each other over what we think is important? And maybe perhaps in these times, in these polarizing times, just step out our tribe a little bit. How can we sit down and talk about racism? How can we sit down and talk about sexism without having to bring up our ism at the same time? Right. How can we hear one another and empathize with one another and find ways that, what is it that we can work together on in our differences? How do we get leadership to want to do that when we're in such silos and tribes right now? But I also think that in the mentoring relationship, as older and wiser people, that's some place where the mentee can help us most. Yeah. Because I think they're there and we're not there. I know I militate against falling in those older places that didn't work for me, and now I'm trying to get them to work for someone else. The people that we are serving as mentees to will help us. That's one of the places I think that they will help us to grow within our stuckness. And they're already doing that by not attending the church and taking on their own leadership out there in the community because we refuse to go. Because the most we've ever been outside is like in front of the church because it's about learning from each other, right? And so I think that they can help us in leadership while we're still leading to be better, simply by hearing their thoughts and seeing their actions and understanding they don't have the baggage that we have.
Well, and they have fresh scholarship and fresh ideas and new ways of envisioning church. Yeah.
I'm glad to have this opportunity to say thanks, even if I said it before. I said it without the context of hard times. You helped me get through. Thank you. I love you. Those are the things I tell my mentors.
I would say thank you that when I wanted to give up on the Pentecostal church, that mentor said to me, don't give up on your roots. When I was hurting and acting out, that I found love, because that was my pathway to God, not being punished for all the crazy mess I had done, and Lord knows the list is long and distinguished, for loving me, because it was the love, not the guilt of my past, that was fed to me, but the love of God that loved me even in the midst of my craziness and continues to love me in what's left of my craziness, that keeps me going, that keeps me loving Jesus, and that keeps me, as we used to say in the Saints of All, I feel like pressing on, I feel like pressing my way, because there was someone that helped me to understand that Jesus loved me, and that's all I needed to know.